to say it, but his parents have been feeling unwell as of late, and I'm staying with them to help take care of Alex.
Oh, so it's serious.
Oh, no, it's not serious. Nothing terminal. It's just a touch of consumption.
And welcome back to Horror Queers. We're talking, is it the anal sex fiend again? We're talking, the word snapshot was originally a hunting term. And we're talking, I just took pictures. And I'm Joe.
And I'm Trace, and we are talking one unforgivable 0.3 blue shift.
It's a big deal, Trace.
It's a big deal. Cyan, man. Like, what are you going to do?
I mean, admittedly, if the pictures did start to take on a blue tint, it would be a big deal. But we know that this guy is also losing his mind.
But the pictures they're showing, I don't think we get a good look at them, but like we can see them on his like screen or something on the desk.
Mm-hmm.
And
they look blue.
They look blue.
Like, Bill, it's a big deal.
Everyone, we are discussing Mark Romanek's 2002 psychological thriller 1 Hour Photo starring the one and only Robin Williams.
Yes, he's in his dark period. This is one of the trilogy, right?
Yes. Oh my God. Have you seen the others?
I've seen Insomnia, and we have talked about the other one, and no, I have not seen it.
Death to Smoochie is one of those ones that, like, I really want you to watch it, but I'm also like, I don't know if you'd like it. I mean, I think you would, but I mean, again, it's one of those famous bombs that got butchered by critics when it came out and developed a cult following. But
it's tricky, right? Dark comedies, I think, are a little bit more your forte than mine. I feel like I should just double bill that and Drowning Mona and just get it over with, and then we can have a conversation about it if we want to.
We can. And granted, I mean, Drowning Mona is the safer pick there, which actually, between those two, you might like Death to Smoochie more because that has the bite that you're looking for.
I do love bite.
Yeah, but either way, yes, this is, I think Robin Williams referred to this as his triptych of evil. And 1 Hour Photo, which, oh, Joe, I have to say, I was right. It was Connie Nielsen in this movie.
Yes.
And I gotta say, I've got facial blindness for this actress, and I cannot figure. I think the reason why is because in every single movie I've seen her in, she has a wildly different haircut or wig on.
Oh my God. Some of the hair choices in this film are bizarre, but hers does top the list. Actually, you know what? The hairstyles and the fucking names of some of these characters.
Well, the names are named after, like, famous photographers.
Oh, is that it? Because I could not figure out why Eric LaSalle's character was named the way he is.
Yes, Detective Van der Zee, named after famous photographer James Augustus Van der Zee.
Okay.
And his partner, Detective Outerbridge, played by Clark Gregg, by the way. Named after photographer Paul Outerbridge.
Okay. Yeah, Outerbridge definitely looked familiar, and the other one felt so specific, I should have known it meant something. Instead, I was just like, I don't know about this character name for specifically Eric LaSalle. It just does not. It does not compute. It broke my brain.
Van der Zee just doesn't. I mean, like, what is this, Gossip Girl?
Honest to God. You know what? XOXO, bitches.
Okay, but had you seen this before, Joe? I can't remember if we said this last week.
So I have definitely seen this. I think I may have even trekked to theaters to go and see this one because I was definitely curious about... Yes, this feels so off-brand for Robin Williams, and I'll confess, I think it was the tone of Death to Smoochie that put me off, but I was in there for Insomnia as well as this one.
I've seen Insomnia, but it's been so long, so if you ask me to tell you anything about it, other than there's a big log scene in the movie,
it's very foggy, it's very moody, folks. It's an early Christopher Nolan, or rather, it's a not spectacular Christopher Nolan film, because a lot of the films that he's become known for are these massive productions, right? And I felt like that one was more sedate, but also a remake.
I did, my little rabbit hole here. Yeah, it is a remake of a Stellan Skarsgård starring film, but no, Insomnia, out of this, Death to Smoochie and Insomnia got the best reviews.
Oh, for sure it did. Yeah, I would argue it's probably the best of the three.
Probably, I would say it's probably the most well-regarded of the three. And,
there we go.
I did see 1 Hour Photo. I was 13 when this came out, so this was like one of those like Netflix mailers when I was in high school. Okay.
See, I feel like that is not a good film for early Trace, because this is a little slow.
I didn't mind it, actually. And maybe it was like the allure of Robin Williams playing very against type.
You do love that.
I do. Yeah, I'm a very easy mark for things like that.
Yes. Usually you prefer it when it's female actresses doing it, but still.
I do. And I think maybe, maybe it feels less novel today because we do see a lot more comedic actors doing horror films now than we did back in 2002. I remember liking it quite a bit back then. I like this. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. There's something here there's something missing from here that isn't fully connecting for me, and I'm not sure what it is, but I think Williams' performance is really good, and I love the look of this movie.
Absolutely. I think those are its two strongest characteristics. It's the direction, the shot composition, specifically the kind of muted color palette, but not in the same way as Insomnia. And then, Robin Williams' performance. I think part of it is that the further the film goes on, the more you recognize that everything that isn't Williams feels a little bit slight. It's just a little bit shallow. And then we will talk about the ending. Spoiler alert, and also content warning for childhood sexual abuse.
I did not remember that reveal at all. And while I get it, I'm also like, you're just throwing this in a coda to explain his behavior, and that 100%. Feels very weird.
It's not even very weird. It feels a little irresponsible, but we will talk about it when we get there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just dive into this then. So, 1 Hour Photo is the second of 3 films directed by Mark Romanek. His first being the 1985 dramedy Static, starring Amanda Plummer and Christine's Keith Gordon. Apparently, he has disowned that film, or he just doesn't think it's very good. The third being the 2010 Alex Garland written film Never Let Me Go.
Okay, that's an interesting one, which we could consider covering.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but because I thought it was just like a romance movie. I didn't know. Well, if I had known it was an Alex Garland written film, I would have been
you would have known differently, right?
Yeah, exactly that. But after Static, though, he went on to be a pretty prolific music video director. Notably,
that tracks.
Well, so he worked with, a lot of people, obviously, but groups like Nine Inch Nails and artists like David Bowie. He is the recipient of 3 Grammy Awards for Best Director of short form music videos.
Wow.
I know. He holds the record for that, by the way.
Okay.
The first Grammy he won was for the video for Michael and Janet Jackson's collaboration Scream in 1996.
Great video.
The second was for Janet Jackson's video Got Till It's Gone in 1998.
Don't remember that one. I know the song, obviously, but
I don't know the song.
You wouldn't, but that's fine.
And the third is for Nine Inch Nails' Hurt, the cover of the Johnny Cash song, which apparently is considered one of the greatest music videos of all time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I probably should have gone to watch it, but I did not.
It's fine. You know what? We'll post it in the discourse and everybody can comment.
I've definitely heard it because Hurt is one people like to sing at karaoke a lot.
Yes.
Specifically, actually, the Nine Inch Nails version, too. I didn't even know it was a Johnny Cash cover, but
I think theirs is more famous.
Probably, and honestly, it might be because of that music video.
Maybe.
Yeah. But the idea for 1 Hour Photo, because, it's like, oh, okay, you had this break from filmmaking, you did all these music videos, like, what made you want to come back and make this, your return to filmmaking? And truthfully, I think he just wanted to do a film, and so the idea came to him with his unexplained fascination with 24-hour drugstore locations, because he thought it seemed like a very interesting and very American setting for some sort of film. And he started thinking about, okay, well, in this location, who would be the most interesting character to follow? And he settled on the 1 Hour Photo guy because it's like, oh, he sees everyone coming in and out and he sees all these photos.
Right. And arguably very few people see him.
Very much so, unless you're Cy Parrish and you just talk to everybody because you don't understand social cues.
It's that, and he's just a very lonely man. I mean, in some ways, I think that this movie is incredibly prescient, even though for some of our younger listeners, I imagine this concept makes no fucking sense.
I mean, even in 2002, it was a little bit dated.
It was a little dated.
We're already having conversations about digital camera in this movie.
We are indeed, yes.
Anyway, yes, so 1 Hour Photo would mark the beginning of what some would call Robin Williams' dark period, which, as we said, is, actually, all of these came out in 2002, which I think is kind of wild.
It feels like there was something in the water. I actually think that it was Robin Williams deciding, you know what, I want to shake things up. I want to try different and maybe more challenging roles.
Well, so the funny thing is, though, he didn't seek the roles out. He said all these scripts for Smoochie and Insomnia and whatever, they came to him, and he said in some sort of weird synchronicity, which my husband would love, because my husband has been using the word synchronicity a lot lately. And
it's a great word.
Yeah, exactly. But he jumped at the chance to do all of them since they weren't the types of roles that he was normally offered at the time or ever at that point.
I'm sure that'd be so exciting if you were an actor for people to say, hey, this isn't your wheelhouse, but I still think you'd be perfect for it. And then to get that 3 times in a row.
Well, that and also these directors all trusted him, because I feel like, again, it's kind of like, okay, we all know who Robin Williams is and we know the types of roles he plays, and he can do dramatic work. We've seen him do dramatic work before, but we hadn't seen him do like dark shit like this. And so I love that. I mean, all these directors said, you know what? I know that you can do this. I'm trusting you to go stretch out of your wheelhouse and do something like this. And it's great.
Yes. And also, please lend us your star power.
Oh, absolutely. So, okay. Filming took place from November 2000 to January 2001. The entire film was storyboarded in advance. And I only emphasize that because the Blu-ray for this movie is actually pretty dense. Oh. I wouldn't say it was particularly useful for my production history, but if you are a filmmaker or you're interested in filmmaking, this is a Blu-ray for you. It's very technical. And you can see every single storyboard for this movie in an 18-minute video.
Wow. Okay.
For the score, Romanek approached his friend Trent Reznor of, is it just 9 Inch Nails, or is it the 9 Inch Nails? 9 Inch Nails?
I think it's 9 Inch Nails, and then they use the 9 Inch Nails for one project.
Sure. Okay.
Actually, you know what? I think it was Twin Peaks: The Return that they might have done the 9 Inch Nails.
Oh, that makes sense. But now it's like NIN, because I remember the first time I saw NIN, I was like, what the fuck is that? And everyone was like, Trace, it's 9 Inch Nails. And I was
Trace,
like,
sweetie.
I mean, we've talked about 9 Inch Nails enough on this podcast. Like, I'm sure we talked about them when we were talking about Cell, because some of their music videos were inspiration. And, obviously any Fincher film. Mm-hmm. But at this point, Reznor was straining to complete the third 9 Inch Nails album, and he says was about to slip off a cliff of addiction. So he did not do this score, obviously. So
he was otherwise preoccupied with his own shit.
Well, but the thing is, though, it wasn't really his choice anyway. So while things were still at the demo stage, he did start working on demos for this score. He received an apologetic call from Romanek saying that the studio was pressuring him to use a, quote, real composer.
Oh, shit. Mm-hmm. That's a bit rude, but I mean, let's be real. Reznor hadn't actually done a lot of those soundtracks. Like you mentioned Fincher, and that I think is where he really... Yeah.
Which would have been 12 years after this. Actually, no, it wasn't.
I think he did
Gone
The Social Network first.
And Dragon Tattoo was after Social Network. So yeah, actually, you're right. It is Social Network.
It's all Fincher. That's what we're saying, folks.
Yeah.
Fincher.
Now, the new score was composed by two guys, Johnny Klimek and Reinhold Heil. They are the composers of Run, Lola, Run.
Oh my God, Trace. That is one of my favorite soundtracks.
So I really like the movie. That was one of the first films I ever had to watch in film school. Like, I think it was maybe to teach us more about editing and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember this, but I remember really that movie's great.
That movie is a fucking banger, and it's because of that movie that we have fucking Franca Patente.
Yes, exactly. Now, but as far as I can tell, shooting went fine on this movie. No real stories other than
we storyboarded it to hell, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, we did have like an accident where because they used like a real store for this. It wasn't just a set. And
was it a Walmart?
I don't know what. Oh, it looks like a Walmart, right?
Well, to the point that I actually saw speculation and chatter online, i.e. Reddit, where people said that Walmart low-key tried to sue this movie because of, especially the costuming and the lighting. Yeah, it looks exactly like a Walmart.
Yeah, the blue vest and things like that. But the editing process for this movie apparently took 13 months.
What?
Yes. So there were rumors that Fox Searchlight, the distributor, made Romanek cut out certain things to make the film more audience-friendly. Romanek denies these claims, saying, and I quote, "I made an edit of the film exactly as I wanted to see. Peter Rice, who ran Fox Searchlight at the time, is a very nice guy, and he's been a tremendous supporter of mine and still is. I think he wanted the film to play more like a thriller, and he kind of shook my hand and said, quote again. You know, ostensibly, you have final cut. At this studio, we're not going to change the film or turn it into something you don't want it to be or demand that you make changes. We just can't be that way at Fox Searchlight. So what he did instead was he let Romanek keep cutting and trying different things. So he continued to edit until he hit basically one cut of the film that the studio liked, and they just told him after 13 months, okay, you're done. We're good. Like, this is good.
My God. Okay, so what you're telling me is that he, quote unquote, had final cut, but then the studio didn't pressure him to make any changes, but didn't agree to his final cut until he got to something that they liked.
See, I could see how that would be the takeaway from this story. What I took away from based on Romanek's tone in this was more so I couldn't get it the cut that I wanted, and they were gracious enough to let me keep editing it over the course of 13 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
My God, that just seems like such a commitment. And I understand, you know, especially when you are a filmmaker who doesn't have a ton of films under your belt, and it sounds like that first one didn't really go according to plan. You want to get it right, but that's more than a year of your life just spent editing.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, hey, at least he was passionate about it,
I guess. And to be clear, you know, the technical proficiency of this film is one of the things that people celebrate.
I mean, this is one of the widest films I've ever seen. And I mean that both in terms of the cast and in terms of the sets.
Oh my God, poor Yoshi. Representing that racialized minority.
And Eric LaSalle over there, too, in the People of Color corner.
Oh, sorry. I completely forgot about that character because I truly feel like you could just cut the detectives out of this film for the most part, and it would not really make an impact.
You could combine them into one character, too.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably my least favorite subplot of the film. We'll say that.
Because I think the detective subplot, that's more at home with a thriller, and what this movie is a character study.
Yeah, this is a simmering treatise on sadness and loneliness.
Yeah, and so going into like that genre mix here, so Romanek got the best input from one Francis Ford Coppola, who asked him, yeah, I know, right? He asked him after watching a cut if the movie was a thriller or a character study, and Romanek,
why not both?
Well, so Romanek told him that was a difficult question because it was sort of both. It was sort of a thriller and sort of a character study, and Coppola told him that there is no such thing as sort of a thriller.
I mean, fair. We do say that about horror films also, so I guess I see where he's coming from.
Well, so what he suggested was, he goes, the film is a character study, but it was in the guise of the genre of a thriller, and he told Romanek he thought it would be helpful to set the film very clearly for the audience in the mode of a thriller, so they felt comfortable with the type of film they were about to see, and then slip the character study in on them.
Right, so hoodwink them, which is admittedly something that we have increasingly seen from filmmakers. You know, we get our backs up when filmmakers say, oh, well, I'm not really into horror films, or this isn't a horror film, and then we go and see it, and it's got all the trappings of the genre.
Right.
But the reality is that a lot of people don't set out to necessarily make a horror film, but they recognize that in order to get films made or marketed or released, you use the genre to do your character piece. So maybe this is just an early bellwether of that.
I think so, but I think that's also why like the cinema score for this movie was a C. That's what audiences gave this. And I think that's because, I mean, the marketing for this did make it look more like a thriller. And I think the last act of this movie, which I do like the last act of this movie, but it's very muted if you're expecting a thriller.
Yeah, it's a little bit more creepy and gently stalkerish. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I saw this film, because I would have been second year university, I think I took a couple of my flatmates and they definitely had that kind of feedback. Oh, I just thought it was going to be a little scarier. I thought it was going to go a little bit harder. It was a little bit muted. So it was an issue. And I mean, you're about to tell me how it fares at the box office, but I remember this not being a huge hit. I think it did okay, but it wasn't a breakout or anything. Yeah.
So 1 Hour Photo had its world premiere at the Sundance Film Festival in January of 2002.
It's a good fit.
Yeah. Before getting a limited theatrical release on August 21st of 2002. And by limited, I mean 7 theaters.
Okay, come on.
It expanded over the next few weeks, hitting the maximum number of theaters the weekend of September 20th with 1,300 screens.
Okay, that's respectable.
Yeah. It had that amount for about 2, maybe 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Its total domestic gross on a $12 million production budget was $31.5 million.
Okay, considering that this had Oscar buzz, a lot of people genuinely thought that Williams might have gotten a Best Actor nomination. Well, he doesn't.
$31 million, too, for a $12 million film. That's
not bad.
That's not taking the international haul of $20 million. So basically, worldwide, this $12 million film had a gross of $52.2 million worldwide.
Okay. Yeah, I think those were still back in the days when we didn't really count international grosses as quote-unquote real. So this isn't a slam dunk, but that is a perfectly respectable number.
Exactly. And we're looking at an 81% of Rotten Tomatoes. Letterboxd users have given this a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
But guess where this movie was very successful, Joe?
Was it successful in the 1 hour photo? The 24-hour department store?
It's okay. If this was the late 80s, you'd have your answer right away. But it was the home video market. So.
Oh, God. Okay. Duh.
I probably should have phrased that better, but it's okay. Romanek said this in an interview with Collider in 2013 when the Blu-ray was coming out. So he says, when we made the film, DVDs were really right at the crest of their popularity. So we were preparing a lot of bonus features. The film came out in theaters and was reasonably successful. And I asked the studio if we could do a special double disc. And they said, oh no, we're not going to do a double disc for this. And I said, well, that's disappointing because we have all this stuff. And the guy kind of laughingly said, well, you know what? If it does 1.5 million units, maybe we'll talk about doing a special edition, which was an unheard of amount to sell for a film like this. And it did sell that and then some. Romanek says it did hugely well on home video. It's something like $75 million on home video.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
God, do you remember those days? Oh.
But that's the thing is like all these people that couldn't see this in theaters who wanted to see Robin Williams be in a horror film, for lack of a better term, they all watched it when it hit video stores.
Well, and this is such an easier sell for you make it a fucking blockbuster night. I could see people renting this on a Friday or Saturday night saying, let's just curl up on the couch and watch scary Robin Williams.
Yeah. Absolutely. But now I really want to watch Insomnia 2 to compare those two performances. Because, I mean, Death to Smoochie, he does play an antagonist in Death to Smoochie, but he's not like a villain, although he is very psychotic in that movie, actually.
Okay. I can tell you in Insomnia, he is absolutely a villain, but he's also not the main character.
It's Al Pacino, right?
Yeah. So it's Al Pacino's film, and then Robin Williams comes in as the villain, but it's like, it's a mystery. We have to solve a case.
That is still wild. Like Al Pacino and Robin Williams. What, like your two top actors in that movie, right?
Yeah. Old white men.
Yeah. But Joe.
Yes.
What happens in this movie?
Okay, so we open with Cy Parrish, this would be Robin Williams, having his picture taken. And the way that this is framed makes you think, oh, he's getting his picture
Driver's
taken
license.
at the DMV, yes, or he's renewing his passport. And no, he's being booked. So we see him in this enormous white interrogation room. Like, I love it because you and I both watch a bunch of soft procedurals like High Potential and even Matlock. And we know what it looks like when people are being questioned by the police. This looks like he could be in a hospital setting. That's how white and bright it is.
I wrote in my notes, I was like, is this what, like, I mean, I'm sure there maybe is an interrogation room that looks like this somewhere, but oh my God.
In heaven, maybe?
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
Truly, like, put everybody in white clothes, and this is the afterlife.
All right, but Joe, you know my question I'm going to ask you. This is technically an in media res, or at least, you know, we're starting at the end, and we got a flashback. Do we need this scene here at the opening of the movie?
We absolutely don't.
Yeah.
But if you are thinking about editing and then selling this as a thriller, yeah, because, you know, okay, so enter Detective Van Der Zee, played by Eric LaSalle, who, of course, would have been super famous from ER. And he comes in and says the roll of photos that were discovered in the hotel room are being processed. And what did William Yorkin do to provoke all of this? So that is the lingering question that is meant to drive everything. And then we use this as our framing device to then go into the main storyline. So do we need it? No, because guess what, folks? You never need a fucking framing device. Do films use this to inspire curiosity and questions about the film we're about to see? Yes. I forgot about the framing device for the most part until we get to the hotel. And I was like, oh, right, the police are going to come back into this. And that's where that roll of pictures are going to come into play.
Yeah, and I almost don't like that we know he gets arrested off the top of the bat. Like,
right?
Like, yeah, it's just kind of like...
It totally zaps the final chase of any kind of tension.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in the past, we've got pictures of a children's birthday party as Cy provides voiceover. We also have a lot of voiceover in this movie, but I will say because Robin Williams is making the most of this, like it's kind of meaty. It's a little philosophical. It's very much the history and purpose of photography. And it truly feels like the film wants us to be thinking about the voiceover. So I'm not as mad about it.
Yeah, I actually thought the voiceover was fine, if only because, I mean, it's just it's Cy's internal monologue. Well, is it an internal monologue? Because he really is talking to us, the audience.
I think so. Yeah.
But because, I mean, Cy is kind of a loner. He's lonely a lot, or he's alone a lot. I'm glad it gives Williams the opportunity to like speak more and offer more dialogue to us.
Yeah, and the reality is because he's lonely and isolated, I don't know how else you get this out. At least we don't have him writing in a journal or, saying something into a tape recorder. It does truly feel like he's narrating this story both to this detective in the framing device, but more to the audience.
Oh, right. I forgot. This is probably him talking to Vander Zee.
I don't know. I mean, some of this is purple prosy or verging on it. So I don't know if a detective would sit here and be like, yeah, tell me more about the purpose of family photographs.
Well, I will say, though, I mean, as unnecessary as I think the cold open is, I admire the film for the restraint for not cutting back to it until the very end.
Thank God. Because that would just, that would tank it.
Well, because then you're breaking the movie into pieces.
Yeah. So over these children's birthday party pictures, we get Cy saying, family photos depict smiling faces. People take photos of happy moments. Someone looking through our photo albums would conclude that we had led a joyous, leisurely existence free of tragedy. No one ever takes a photograph of something they want to forget. And the reason I read that all out is not to be like, hey, everybody, here's an example of the voiceover. But consider those lines, given where we told you the film is going to go in terms of his motivation, and you realize, oh, that's actually really fucking dark, because people did take pictures of young Cy, and they were not to capture the happy moments, and you would actually want to forget the content of child pornography.
Yeah, I actually, I now want to rewatch the movie knowing that reveal at the end so I can see if it reframes any scene or even moments of Cy in the film.
I think it does. The biggest issue with it is just it feels like it's at the end, not just to explain, like, offer a motivation for why the character has done this, which I think some people would say we don't actually need to know that because his intentions, his actions throughout the film speak for themselves. But also it feels... we talked about the crying game recently, and it kind of feels not quite on that level, but it does feel like an attempted rug pull. Like, oh shit, you thought you knew who this character was, and this reframes the whole thing. And the truth is that I do think it helps you to understand and even, position Cy differently throughout the film, but the film feels like it wants you to be shocked, as opposed to, oh, this is a meaningful thing that we should maybe unpack a little bit more in detail.
Which we don't, because the movie ends like 2 minutes after that reveal.
100%. And detective photographer name doesn't even... He's just kind of like, yeah, cool. Okay, well, I'm going to book you now.
Oh, no, it's like I get it. Okay, well, bye.
Bye. The movie's over. We've run out of time. I've been editing this bitch for 13 months. I need to just get it into focus so we can release it and make money.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's turn our attention to some other characters. We have what I think is furniture designer Will Yorkin, who is played by alias as Michael Vartan.
Oh, with the longest hair I have ever seen him have. I actually think him and Connie Nielsen are wearing the same wig.
How dare you? But also maybe. Yeah. She's doing that weird chunky spikes in the back look that we did. This feels slightly too late. I think I saw a lot of this in the late 90s, so this is just a couple years removed. his hair just looks like, oh, he's so busy working all the time and fucking that lady on the side that he just hasn't been able to get to the hairdresser. Also, he's shaggy. Like, it was the look that we did back then.
I think it's made to make him look younger, too, because he does feel a little bit younger than Nina, the Connie Nielsen character.
Oh, really? You think so? Because there's this one moment where she's wearing this leather and fur kind of jacket, and I was like, man, she looks badass. Like she's going to go and climb on a motorcycle or something. She definitely does not look old enough to have a 9-year-old son in this movie.
I mean, we don't get to see a lot of the world around this building, this Save Mart place, because we're really sticking to like, it's the hotel, it's Cy's apartment, it's the Yorkins' house. But like, I'm like, but we know that Cy lives in this city and that's relatively far-ish away.
I think at one point he says it's nearly an hour away. So presumably this is a Save Mart, definitely not a Walmart out in the suburbs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so Connie Nielsen is Nina Yorkin. This would be the wife. We don't know if she works because she's just a wife and a mother in this movie. And then, yes, they have a 9-year-old son named Jake, who is played by Dylan Smith. And not gonna lie, pretty good child performance. I couldn't remember if I liked this kid or found him bratty, and I wound up liking him.
Yeah, I like him a lot too. I don't think he really went on to do much acting because they pulled him out of a school in the area they were filming.
Oh, really? Okay. You know what? Sometimes that yields the best results, but yeah, it doesn't mean that this child will become a full-fledged actor.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so mother and son have come to the Save Mart to deposit a roll of film, and Cy, we can understand that he has some kind of relationship to them because he basically side hustles his coworker, who is Yoshi, played by Paul H. Kim, out of the way so that he can deal with this family, the Yorkins. And we also note that Nina suggests she only wants 2 copies of the prints, and we notice that he writes down 3, so red flag. And she says, oh, can I get these sooner, like I kind of hoped before closing time? And this is a 1-hour photo place. And we close in 40 minutes, but Cy promises her that it will happen. So, like, we can understand that he is not breaking the rules right away, but he clearly wants to do right by this family. He wants to impress them.
And, I mean, honestly, like, Williams' performance is so nuanced in this because, I mean, you feel empathy for this character, don't you?
I do, while at the same time, he is not giving me the heebie-jeebies, but the way that he is reacting to things is improper.
It's a thing where, I mean, again, I'm going back to like, he doesn't really understand social cues very well. And he'll say something and I'm like, oh man, like you are not reading the situation correctly. And I just want to like give him a hug because I just feel like he needs to like not be alone, but I don't know.
Well, part of it, because I feel like you're kind of trying to make an angle for some kind of mental health issue or some, like we would maybe diagnose him in a certain way. I can't disagree. The film definitely doesn't want to go in that particular direction, but we do get suggestions throughout the course of the film that he has this almost rich fantasy life, right? Like we'll see him imagining himself as part of this family. And then that gets literalized in the fact that he is collecting their family photos and internalizing them as his own family.
I'm not even like leaning towards like a specific diagnosis. I mean, again, we will learn it's all a trauma response. Like this is all trauma. And so I get that.
Well, why do you think that he doesn't read social cues? Because I just found him like he's so desperate to impress these people because he considers himself part of the family. So that's where he's overstepping. But like when he's reacting to his boss, Bill, who is played by Gary Cole, I think that his reactions are perfectly normal. He's slightly aggressive and slightly standoffish because he just doesn't like this guy.
Well, I guess that's the difference then. When he's around people that he likes, he doesn't behave. Oh God, do I want to use the word normal? I know.
He doesn't follow social conventions. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he just keeps pushing,
He's overstepping a lot of the time.
He's a pusher, Katie.
Oh my God. I only sold them drugs that one time at the photo mart. Yeah. Okay. So we do learn that he takes his job very seriously, but he's also prone to still making mistakes. Like our first interaction with Yoshi is pushing this guy away so that we can deal with the Yorkins. But then when he goes into the back to develop Nina's photos, Yoshi says, hey, you've kind of fucked up this role. And it seems like Sai doesn't care. And I couldn't tell if it's because he doesn't value Yoshi's opinion or if he's just like, when I don't give a shit about things, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I mean, we learned from his voiceover, he's been working in this industry for 20 years, presumably at this very same location. So
I think at one point he says he's worked here for at least 11 years.
Okay, so I mean, I think it's more so he just thinks he owns the place.
Yeah, like when he gets fired, spoiler alert, and then he forces his way back in so that he can set his nefarious scheme in play, he definitely says, I'm the person who calibrated this mini lab, this 1 hour photo mart. So I have a lot of pride in it. And you're just kind of like, okay, yeah, I get that. You think that you are doing a top-notch job on this. And we also hear that he is very dismissive of other places who are doing similar work. So he definitely throws down on getting your photos developed at Rexall or Photech. Which I was like, I don't know what a Photech is, and I don't know if that's a real place, but we do have Rexalls here in Canada. So
then I bet Photech probably is or was real at one point in time.
There we go. Yeah. But as Sai continues to tell us in his voiceover, he processes these photos as if they're his own. And, you know, that's a bit of a cheeky wink wink kind of comment because we don't know yet, but obviously we will come to discover that he is actually acting as if these photos are his own. Like, these are my family photos. Yeah. I put them up on the wall. I put them on the mantle.
Again, there's just something so pathetic about it. Like, and maybe that's where my empathy's coming from. Like, he's such a pathetic figure that I just feel bad for him.
Absolutely. I mean, I think some people are going to say, oh, pathetic seems like a really strong word choice. I think a lot of people, yes. I think the softer version is you feel a little bit sad for him. You feel sorry for him. But then as the film progresses and we come to understand, oh, he is coming apart, I think that's where you can also find some empathy. It's just like, oh, man, if somebody had to stage some kind of intervention, a lot of things might have gone differently for this man.
Yeah, I kept trying to think, if he wasn't fired, would he go through with his plan that takes up the climax of the film?
See, and I think no.
Yeah, I think the answer is no as well.
But also, it seems inevitable. Like, it's not just, oh, you got fired because you were making all these extra prints and you didn't cover it, which, by the way, there was such an easy way for him to have continued to get away with this. He just had to say that they were junk photos because the number of times you're going to print out photos in a lab like this and they come out wrong all the time. The time.
I did find that, like, I had to like stretch my suspension of disbelief for that because I was like, I don't know. I mean, as much of an expert as he is around this entire thing, like, I feel like he could have come up with an excuse on the fly.
Yeah, or I mean, hey, we're not here to fix the movie's problems, and this is a logistics thing. It's you just hand wave it away and you get on with watching the film. Sure. But the other part of me was like, dude, just pay for the extra roll out of your own pocket. Like, slip an extra 20 into the till and be like, yeah, there's the money. You know, she paid for 3. I took home 1.
Yeah. But I guess it's been happening for years, which honestly, though, I feel like that's a poor reflection on Bill because he didn't catch this years ago.
Truly. Yeah. Where's the administration? Where's the oversight of all of this? You know what, Bill? Maybe you should have been fired for this.
Maybe that's the commentary, though. It's like it's just this Save Mart store, right? Like no one cares about these places.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that these stores were living and dying based on their 1 hour photo because it's a big ass store, right? You know, we'll see him walk through it and it's very clearly the size of a regular Walmart with all of the, you know, home furnishing sections and knives and other things.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, because I doubt they have, but like I remember back when this came out, like at least in the mid 2000s, Walmart was really known for treating their employees horribly.
Well, so what you're saying is nothing has changed?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if they've gotten better. I doubt they have because grocery stores are going down the drain as we get more automated and we're forced to check out our own items, but still.
It's okay. Machines will just take all of our jobs in the future.
Nothing frustrates me more. I mean, I don't mind checking out my own shit. I've become really good at it, but it's when you buy something that has to be carded. It's like, okay, well, you have your person here, but like, it's such a fucking waste. It's such a fucking waste. I hate it. It's so annoying.
Well, and that person is so overwhelmed because there's a bunch of people who either can't work the system or they're having that similar issue. And then you're waiting around for, 2 to 3 minutes. And if you've got multiple items, folks, this is maybe a first world problem. But to me, what it speaks to is the fact that these organizations try to make automated things as if it improves the customer experience while also downsizing their workforce, putting people who need those jobs jobs out of work and then saying like, no, isn't it super great for everybody? And you're like, no, motherfucker, everybody suffers under this system.
And that is the thing. Like, it is a way to destroy their workforce, because even my local grocery store, like, I mean, they'll, the self-checkout lines are always open. Obviously, there's 16 of those, but then you have one person working an actual counter.
Yeah, they're so overwhelmed. But all this to say, unions are great, and we should all be trying to unionize.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, moving on. Okay, so yes, we have the Yorkins looking over their photos at home, and this is where Nina and Jake tell Will about Cy. And when you know what Will is getting up to in this film, it kind of makes sense that he wouldn't know the photo guy, but I think early on, you're just meant to assume, oh, it's because this is a person who just works at a counter in a store and I don't pay attention to the people who are servicing me. But later as the film, again, progresses, you will come to realize it's because Will never goes out with Nina and Jake when they run these kinds of errands, because he's either working or he's fucking Maya.
Yeah.
So it's an early condemnation of this character that he like doesn't even know what his wife and son are getting up to and who they're interacting with.
And what did she say? He's emotionally neglectful to his family.
Which checks out.
Oh, yeah. She is spot on with that accusation.
I mean, the movie does a great job of also never showing them having a genuinely intimate moment. This is the closest we will get.
And I get it, because they are not the main characters of this film. This is very much Cy's film.
Yeah.
But do you feel a little bit let down with the, do I want to say resolution to their story? Like, we don't really
100%.
Yeah. And that clearly is by design. Mm-hmm. But I can't help but feel maybe that's the piece that I'm missing from this movie, too.
It is. Yeah. It is. That's the issue. Like, this movie is, what, an hour 35? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, folks, don't you love it? If you go back and listen to the old episodes, we will just constantly complain about movies that are too long. And you'll hear us complain about one on the Patreon this month as well, where it's like, let's get an editor in here and fix this problem. But I feel like more often than not lately, you and I spend a lot of time complaining that movies are too fucking short and we're not getting enough of some of our supporting cast. We see it a lot in slasher films where it's like these people are just blood bags to be disposed of. But, we talked about it in Universal Monsters. But even stuff like here, you're right. It's Cy's film, but the movie doesn't hit as hard because I don't think we care quite enough about the marriage between Will and Nina.
We don't, but I care about Nina.
Which is, I think, what the film is actually trying to get us to do. I don't think that Will is an actual character. No. I like him because I know Michael Vartan.
Well, and he's playing against type in a role like this, too.
That is true. Yes, if you've watched Alias, he's like the perfect boyfriend.
I mean, yeah, Alias, Never Been Kissed, this Hottie McHot teacher who likes to go into minors for some reason.
Ooh, and not the ones who go underground. We're talking about Underage Girl.
Although, again, Drew Barrymore isn't underage in the movie, but her character is posing as an underage girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that.
Talk about a movie that is great, but it is really hard to watch nowadays. In a certain capacity.
That's one of the first rom-coms that ever made me cry. When she gets the eggs thrown on her.
Oh, okay. We've definitely talked about this movie before, but for me, it's actually like the climax is what gets me. Her waiting out on the pitch and then dropping the mic in slow motion and then him coming out just a moment too late, but it's still so good.
Joe, my mom would rewind him coming down the bleachers over
it's
and over.
So
and
satisfying.
Over and over.
So good. Such a good movie. Okay. So they're looking over their photos, and then we see that Cy is actually doing the exact same thing at the diner. And I will say, I hate this diner waitress because she half seems interested, but she also just wants him to finish up and or order more food so that she can just like get him out of there.
But then it's like, why are you asking to look at these photos, bitch?
Truly, it's girl, make up your mind.
Maybe she's doing it because she's like, oh, if I get the photos out of his hand, then he'll focus on paying the check.
Or if I appear to take an interest in him as a person, maybe he will tip me better.
Maybe.
Because here's the thing. I'm still convinced this is completely unscientific method. So, obviously Mark Wahlberg would not suggest that I'm deploying the scientific method, as we talked about last week. Mm-hmm. But I'm convinced that if a server touches you, like on the shoulder, that is a sort of physical attempt to inspire a connection between you and that you would tip higher.
Huh. I've never had a server touch me, I don't think, so I don't know.
Oh, really? Not even like a, hey, hun, can I get you another cup of coffee or something like that?
I don't. Not to my recollection. I mean, it's possible, but not to my recollection.
Okay.
Now, oh my God, now I'm going to be
you're going to be paying attention, right?
I'm going to be hyper aware of servers touching me.
Are you touching me? Why are you touching me? Do you think you're going to get a better tip? What's going on?
I never touched people when I was a server, so I don't know.
It's a little weird, right? I mean, it'd be like giving photos back to somebody and tussling their child's hair, which, happens in this movie, and I don't like it.
That feels more normal to me, though. Or that feels more socially acceptable to me. Although, I don't know, maybe not.
Maybe so, but in this movie, it definitely feels like, oh my God, you're leaning over the counter to touch this child's hair. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes. So we do see Sai return home to this very sad, maybe a little bit pathetic apartment. It's kind of tiny, but we also get this slightly overbearing musical score where it's just sad piano.
Mm-hmm. I remember liking the score when I watched the movie, but I couldn't, like, in my mind right now, I can't come up with an actual piece of score.
Yeah. I don't remember any other part of it, to be honest.
Yeah. What would Reznor have done?
I'm not going to lie, probably something better. Think about those Fincher scores.
Yeah.
Okay, so as Nina tucks Jake in, he says that he feels bad for Sai. You know, he's thinking about how this guy seems that he's a little bit sad and he doesn't have any friends, which is the most childlike interpretation of this situation. He just happens to be very right. Because part of me is like, we don't know anything about the personal lives of individuals who serve us at the grocery store, at the 1 hour photo place, at the liquor store, and so on. Like, you're not really pausing to consider what is their interior life like, or what is their social life like. But the fact that this child picks up on the sadness inherent in this guy is telling.
To the point where I actually wanted to see more of Jake, or even the relationship between Jake and Sai, because we will get a scene later where he walks him home from his basketball game or soccer game or whatever, which, oh my God, like, that is inappropriate. But
oh my God, it feels the closest that this movie gets to uncomfortable grooming.
Yes, very much so. Although I don't think that's actually the intent, you know?
Well, yes and no, because again, consider where we go at the end of the film.
Yeah, but see, though, I guess...
I have a read that will help to make it not creepy or uncomfortable.
Do you view Sai as a sexual figure?
I think there's a danger in that. Like, you could watch this movie and say the relationship he's developing with this child, and specifically in that scene, I think that's the really telltale one. I think there are a lot of people who, especially in 2026, are going to look at that and say, no, that is so fucking inappropriate. Like, this guy could be put on a watch list. The reading here, I'll just jump to it now. So the reading that I found is by Mr_Smith 1466 on Reddit. Reddit is my new favorite place to get sources.
I love it.
So Mr. Smith says, Sai's desire to ease in close to the family, as well as every interaction with the young son, are him trying to catch a glimpse of the sort of happy life he never had. And then his punishment of Will is the rage he could never unleash on his own father. So I think this is him trying to build happy, perfect memories for a surrogate stand-in kind of son, because he never got to have that in his own childhood.
That all makes sense to me. But I guess, sorry, what I mean though is, like, do you view him as a sexual? Like, do you think he masturbates? Do you think he fantasizes about having sex? Like, do you think he's attracted to other people? Because I almost get an asexual vibe from him.
Yeah, there's no indication, you know, aside from the fact that we know he doesn't have family, because he will tell detective photographer at the end that, you know, he doesn't have anybody in his life. And again, I think you can read this as informed by his trauma, where he's never actually gotten close to anybody. The closest he's gotten to is the Yorkins, and that's why he does what he does.
Well, and again, restraint here, where it's like, I'm surprised we don't have a scene of him masturbating to any photo that he has.
I don't think that's in the film's interest. They want him to have an almost purity about his idolization of the family. And I think that would be corrupted. That turns it into something like Seven or something just grosser and darker. Yeah, it's the darker as opposed to the character study.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, we've got this moment where Jake is talking about how he thinks that Sai is kind of sad and he doesn't feel like he has any friends. And I love that this moment in particular, here's a good example of the editing that takes 13 months. We see Sai just standing still in this pathetic, sad kitchen, And it almost seems as if he is listening or hearing to what Jake is talking about because, you know, mom and son close their eyes and they say, send some good thoughts to Sai. And it feels like there is this connection, but it's entirely constructed by the editing.
Yeah. Because this is not a supernatural film in any shape, way, or form.
No.
But it does feel like that in this moment. Oh, yeah. I do like that, too.
It's good. And then we just immediately upend it because we go into Will yelling to Nina about how she's overspending and, you know, all this stuff that, again, is offering us some slight introspection into the nature of their relationship. But again, we don't really go into it all that much. And this is also where we see that Sai has this mantle full of pictures of the family. And then in a couple of scenes, we understand it's not even that. It's an entire wall of his apartment.
I think this movie does escalation really well, actually, because
agreed.
And this is very, you know, these moments are very close to each other in the span of the runtime. But yeah, it's like you're looking at the photos on the nightstand, you're like, that's not very good. But then
you see the wall and you're like, oh fuck.
Like he's basically one of his walls is entirely window, and he has covered over the entire window with photos of this family, making some sort of fucked up collage.
Yeah. It's the life he doesn't have. It's the life he envisions. And then we see that he is actually inserting himself mentally into these pictures. He's imagining himself as a member of that family. And I do love that that's where the movie ends as well.
Well, I love that we don't overuse that bit because we do get a fantasy sequence later that we don't know is a fantasy sequence up front.
I love the fantasy sequence.
Really
it's so fucking good.
And I like that we don't do it again. You know, we really just keep it to that one moment and the end of the film. But yeah, I think it's great too.
Yeah, honestly, that is a great rug pull.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So the next day at Save Mart, we go through our regular clients. The film, I did see some people say it doesn't really negotiate its tone all that well between some of the comedy beats and some of the thriller beats and some of the characters. I disagree because I think that this little moment of levity gives us a sense of not just who Sai is, but also you're going to get some weirdos using the 1 hour photo. And I think anybody who has experience in not just customer service, but like specifically photo development, yeah, you saw a lot of fucking shit and you didn't report any of it unless it was child pornography or like rape or murder or something like that. But the number of people who were stealing copies or making copies of especially sexual photos, a lot. We'll just say that.
Yeah. I love this too. In this revolving door of customers. So we get like a montage of like all the different customers. He's saying, the types of photos I get. You know, I get the cat lady, I get this.
The insurance guy, new parents, the cosmetic surgeon assistant, and then the amateur pornographer.
The amateur pornographer, did you recognize him?
I recognized him and I couldn't place him.
He is Jim Rash, the dean from Community.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
But he has hair. So he was unrecognizable because he had hair.
Yeah. Honestly, hair can make a big difference.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the moment that we have that you quoted off the top. So we have Larry the repairman, who is played by Nick Searcy, showing up, and he is so unimpressed with Sai calling him for this tiny little repair. He's at actual flaming machines to take care of in other Save Marts or other places. And Sai thinks it's very important that he makes this minor course correction. But this is also our introduction to Save Mart manager Bill Owens, who was played by Gary Cole. And he does not like that Sai is making a big commotion in front of customers.
Yeah, which fun fact, well, maybe not fun fact about Mr. Nick Searcy, by the way. He has become full MAGA and was present at the January 6th insurrection, but was not charged or arrested.
Holy fucking shit.
He has attempted to change the media narrative that it was even an insurrection at all.
Okay, yeah. The fact that anybody from January 6th got a fucking pardon makes me sick.
Oh, trust me. It's every day some news comes out about what Trump is doing, and I'm like, well, dig our hole deeper into hell, everyone.
Jesus Christ, yeah. So yes, Bill Owens, question for you. You don't seem like the kind of person who's seen Office Space, but if you have, or if you are familiar with his character, does this feel too inside baseball?
I have seen Office Space. I am not part of the I mean, I don't dislike it. I think it's fine. I think I saw it late.
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't even think about that actually being an homage. Yeah, honestly, every time I see Gary Cole, I think about Mike Brady.
Yes, of course you do.
Of course I do. Yeah.
That's definitely you.
But I don't think it could be too inside baseball. I think if you got it, you got it.
I just wasn't sure if this was meant to acknowledge that. I mean, obviously, he's not playing the same character. He doesn't even really deliver his lines in the same
similar,
cadence. It's
though.
just he has that authoritative boss down pat. And the other famous time he does that is Office Space. I personally always think of American Gothic, which is a show I hold fondly in my heart, and I encourage people to go back and check it out. Early Sarah Paulson, everybody.
Ooh.
Yeah, as well as that kid from the Fast and the Furious 3. The weird one. The main one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I know his name.
Lucas somebody?
Lucas Black.
Lucas Black.
Yes.
Thickest southern accent you've ever heard in your damn life.
Very much so.
Okay, so yeah, Bill is not a huge fan of Cy because he is starting to clock that we are getting some aberrant behavior on the job on company time. So his lunch breaks are too long. He seems to be gazing off into the distance because here he has envisioned himself in the Yorkins Christmas picture.
Oh, boy.
So basically, Bill would love it if Cy would consider maybe taking some time off. And folks, if your boss is telling that to you, they are either a friend of yours and they want you to actually use your mandated time and think about protecting your mental health and so on, or they are low-key trying to start to usher you out the door.
Yeah, they don't like you. And this is also where we learn. So, like, Cy is not actually that great of an employee because even at this point, he's 30 minutes late on his lunch break. Like, he's just been sitting here, but it's because he gets lost in the fantasy. Like,
he does.
I think he has full memory gaps, actually.
I think so. And I think if you wanted to, you could probably recut this film to make everybody question whether any of this is actually real, particularly the climax. Or is it that Cy has gotten completely lost in these fantasies?
Yeah, but I'm glad we don't do that.
Oh, me too, because who could fucking care about those movies? They're so boring.
And again, it would make then the actual rug pull we get where we do get a fantasy sequence later, like, it would make that less effective.
Oh, yeah. Or you wouldn't be able to use it at all because it wouldn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yes, on his way back to his workstation, this is where Cy awkwardly interacts with Will for the first time because Will is there. He's in a different section and he's looking for help and Cy can't really help him. But when he recognizes who he is from the photos, we try to have this awkward conversation.
Which, to be fair, isn't as awkward as I thought it was going to be. But Will definitely gives him like the, after Jake comes back up and they walk away, like Will definitely does the let me look back at him really quick face.
Yeah, what was with that guy? There is that moment where I tried to push back on you where you said that Cy is socially awkward. He's misreading cues. I think that is very evident in this scene because Will is clearly not interested in continuing the conversation, and Cy
keeps continuing,
pushes it. Yeah,
because he keeps saying, "Oh, you're a very lucky man with a very beautiful family and a very beautiful house," and it's just like, just stop talking, man. You can just stop.
Just don't.
Yeah.
You do not know this person.
But I guess then really it's not really a trait that he does this with all people. It's really just with this family that he does this with.
Yeah. And I think that's the other saving grace of this film is that it's not as if he will just do this with anybody. He has fixated on this one particular family and decided that they are the idealized version. And that's what drives him to the brink.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whereas if he was just, like jacking it to a bunch of different families, I don't think it would have the same kind of power.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
He would just be Red Dragon, essentially.
But because then it becomes a thriller, not a character study.
Yeah. Okay, so this is also where we introduce Evangelion, the toy that Jake really wants to have, but his parents will not buy it for him. We do a couple of these kinds of things, right? Where Cy is very observant. So he also takes note that Nina is reading a book by Deepak Chopra, which is a fucking timestamp for this movie, everybody. Do you want to change your life? Let's get into some, some gently Indian philosophy. And it's like so white people, so that's cringe.
Honestly, too, when I still see media made today that references either The Secret or...
Oh my God, The Secret.
Or Marie Kondo, that does it bring you joy? I mean, I get it, but like we have moved past that.
Well, and I think especially as white people, we just need to check ourselves at how much we are. It's not tokenism, it's exoticization, where we're just like, oh, these spiritual practices or these, foreign places, they've really got life figured out. And it's just like, oh my God, go to therapy and just stop.
Yeah.
Sorry, that sounded very judgy, but I'm just like, I don't know. As white people, I don't like to think of myself as co-opting other people's culture too much.
I mean, true. Out of all those things that we just mentioned, like Marie Kondo is the one I kind of relate to the most because I don't know about you, but I was a very imaginative child, and so I actually I assign personalities to a lot of the inanimate objects in my room. So I'm not a hoarder. I'm a very organized person, but I always had a lot of trouble throwing things away because I thought that the thing I was throwing away had hurt feelings about me throwing it away.
Okay, so basically we're talking about the intersection between... Well, no, you're basically just talking about a bunch of Disney Pixar movies.
Honestly, that might be where I got it from. but not even just a toy, though. It could have been like a pencil I had been using for a long time.
Yeah. So question then, because you talked previously, way back in the day, about having a fuck pillow. So did you have a personified identity for that fuck pillow?
I didn't, and that...
Okay, I'm kind of happy that you said no.
Well, that's no, good. but I feel no. I actually think that might be bad though, because if I was assigning personalities or souls, for lack of a better term, to other inanimate objects, but not the thing that I was fucking,
wow,
that
psychopath.
Sounds bad.
It's okay, everybody. Trace is on a watch list, and he is getting regular therapy sessions.
Oh, my God. I don't know what's good. What is the good side of that? I don't know.
I don't think you're escaping from this conversation in a good way.
Clearly not. Parents, don't buy your teens body pillows. Don't buy your male teens body pillows.
I mean, they're just a sleeping aid.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. So, okay. We also see Sai perusing a flea market where he buys a old-timey photo. Well, not an old-timey. He buys a picture of a woman that has a kind of antique-y feel to it.
It was old-timey. It's like a black and white glamour shot.
Yeah, I guess I just meant, it's not as if he's buying it and he's saying, this is my mother from the turn of the century or anything.
I mean, but he is saying, this is my mother.
He is definitely saying that, which that's the other kind of interesting thing. I don't want to keep belaboring the point about where the film will go, but It does make me realize how little we actually know about anything to do with Sai's real life. His apartment, when we see it, it's not just sad and pathetic. It is devoid of anything. He has no pictures up on the wall except for the stolen photos from work.
His apartment feels like a liminal space. But we should be asking ourselves in this moment, why isn't he using a real picture of his mother?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's what is his relationship to his mother? And the film, again, I think wants us to question it, but it doesn't want to provide us with any kind of reassurance or closure, so we don't get any kind of answer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which can make it more interesting. And I imagine for some people might just feel a little underwhelming or a bit undercooked. I tend to fall into the former.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we're also getting voiceover again about how getting your picture taken means that you mattered to someone. And again, dark interpretation if you think about the end.
I know. Someone cared enough about you in this world to take your picture, and Sai doesn't have anyone like that in his life.
Yeah, except for the person who abused that because they cared about him, but not in the right way, because they were taking different kinds of pictures of him.
I really wish the child abuse angle, I'm not even mad that it's here. I just wish it was brought up sooner, because then the film could unpack that with everything we're about to see.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm not going to suggest it's tantamount to a rape narrative and how a lot of films will use a sexual assault. But it is one of those things where if you're going to put it in the film, I need you to handle it responsibly.
Well, because his social skills are obviously a response to the trauma he endured as a child, but also his obsession with photography is a response to the trauma he endured as a child.
Yeah, he was traumatized by having these dirty pictures taken by, spoiler alert again, his fucking father, of all people. It wasn't even a stranger. It wasn't a family friend. It was this fucking father who does this to him. And then he makes it his profession to work in photography. Mm-hmm. That is, the layers of just bad.
Again, there's so much to unpack, but we can't.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to do it retroactively after we have watched the film, or if we remember to do so because we have seen the movie before, which neither one of us clearly did because it was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay, but we are up to the double fake-out fantasy sequence. So we see Sai go to the Yorkin house. He checks the door. It's unlocked. He goes in. He takes a shit. He puts on Will's sweater.
I wrote in all caps, he poops in their bathroom.
Because he's a member of the family. He sits there, he talks to the dog because of course he knows the dog's name. And then there's this moment of panic where the Yorkins come back in and they full on discover him on the couch. And you think, oh shit. And then you realize, oh, this is probably a fake out. But they first recognize him and they say, oh, hey, Sai.
Yeah, this is it's Uncle Sai, everybody. Oh my God. And then, we cut. And truthfully, I was kind of like, oh, okay, he's just sitting outside, like, boo, that kind of sucks. But I do like the way this unfolds.
Yeah, because I think it would have been easy to have had it be they discover him and then we get the reveal, no, he's actually out in the car. And instead, this is actually playing with us as an audience where in his mind, it's fine if they discover him because he is a member of the family. So this is totally happy. This is totally normal. So the joke is on us as an audience, and that is the movie playing with the thriller convention. It's the, oh shit, he's going to get discovered. He needs to hide. Why isn't he panicking more?
He just wants to have a... Oh my God. Okay, I kept trying to... What other cinematic figure does he remind me of the most? And I think I'm settling on May, Angela Bettis in May.
Okay. Yeah, he just wants that human connection. And in May's case, it's more romantic.
And again, though, it's the thing where it's like, oh, like they both had this, again, I'm going to use the word pathetic quality to them, but I do empathize with them until you don't, right? When it's like, oh, they both of these characters cross a line.
They've taken it too far.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting because actually I was going to hold off. I was going to say at the end of this, our game should be what films does this movie remind you of and or could you see a contemporary remake? Because I think the other way to frame this movie in particular is if you think it's at all prescient, despite the outdated technology, this feels like early influencer horror, where people form a parasocial relationship with people that they're only seeing on screen, and his version is just a bit more analog.
Yeah, but
this is Lurker. An early version of Lurker.
Yes. I was like, we just watched a parasocial movie. I feel like, Lurker's the one. Yeah.
Okay, so yes, double fake out, and it's great. And then we are back at work and we're dealing with a new customer who seems a little bit familiar. So this is Maya, played by Erin Daniels. He notes a bracelet that she has and he just can't place her. And she is not interested in having a relationship with him. She just wants to get her photos. She doesn't even care if she picks them up today. She might be in tomorrow or the day after.
Yeah. I was not familiar with Erin Daniels as I saw her face. I was like, I feel like I know her from something. I don't know her from anything, but if you were a viewer of The L Word, she was a main character on that show for several years.
Oh, shit. Okay, so a tangential queer connection then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting. This is when Sai goes to watch Jake's soccer game, and initially you'd think, okay, he's just doing his weird lurker thing, but no, neither Nina or Will are there, and he wants to go after the coach for being mean and not supportive enough, and he's playing Uncle Sai, and I love it that Jake is not threatened by this. I do think that that's a bit of a message to the audience. This boy seems familiar with Sai, so maybe we don't have to panic, but I will admit, I couldn't remember where this went, and I just went, oh, fuck, grooming. Oh, God.
I mean, look, immediately you're like, okay, well, he should not be at this game. But I was kind of like, okay, like, you could maybe, like, make an excuse for this. But the second it cuts and he is walking him home.
No.
And I do think if Jake, as a character, were aged up a little bit, I don't think he'd be the same. I think he would be...
He'd be too self-aware of this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, he just turned 9. That was the party that we saw at the opening of the film. And that feels the exact right age to be... I'm aware enough of this person as an individual that I think he's sad and I feel bad for him, but not old enough that he's going to say, this creepy older dude walked me home today.
But at the same time, there is something sweetly innocent about the relationship between Jake and Sai that I do like, but I also think that's because at the end of the day, I do think that Sai is it has a case of Arrested Development.
100%, yes. And that works so much better, even if you do take into account where we're going to go with this character, because this is also the element where we get a bit of his backstory, right? He's trying to relate to Jake, and in some ways you think, oh, he is Jake. Like, he's a version of Jake. And I mean, you and I both watch From, the TV show on MGM Plus. Everybody, it has already come back for season 4, and it's fucking amazing. But there's a character named Victor on that show where initially I was so fucking frustrated with him because he's an adult man who just seems way too childlike. And that's what he is, because he also had a traumatic incident when he was a child, and he just hasn't been able to mature and move past it. And I do get that same feeling with Sai here, where he's like, oh, it's almost easier to talk to Jake because we're at the same level.
Yeah, like he chose the wrong profession. He should have been a teacher.
Yeah, or a therapist, maybe. I mean, this is definitely one of those characters where you're just like, oh, a character in a horror movie who could have benefited from therapy, like so much therapy.
Yeah, very much
But yeah, no, he would have been great with kids, even. I
actually am a little bit surprised we don't have him meeting a therapist in this movie either.
He seems like the kind of person who would never admit that there's a problem, though, because he is so invested in these fantasies. Like, to him, I don't think that he thinks he has any problems.
Well, because I do think that when he does make his confession about his abuse at the end of the movie, I think that might be the first time he said it.
He said it. Yeah. So here what we're hearing is that he admits he was a bit chubby, maybe even fat, and that he talks about how he was home a lot because he had mono and hepatitis. And then there was also a period where he had broken his arm, so his arm was in a cast at an awkward angle. So he admits he didn't really have a lot of friends. And I think, again, at this stage in the film, you're meant to think, oh, okay, so he never really learned how to socialize properly. He didn't have a friend group or a peer support base that would help to get him out of his own space, out of his own head. And then later on, you're like, oh, he was at home a lot. He was trapped at home.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay, so Sai is also gently collecting evidence because he does want to know more about the family. So he asks, hey, how come your dad never seems to be around? And he tries to present Jake with this Evangelion toy. And I love that Jake refuses it because he knows that his parents would question him, where did you get this toy? And he doesn't want to make up a lie about it.
Well, he says my parents would let me keep it. So but I'm just like, that's a really good kid because I would have taken that shit.
It's such a mature response because, yeah, I absolutely would have taken the thing I wanted. Like, you're presenting it to me, no strings attached. I mean, let's be clear. I would probably have been lured into somebody's fan if I wasn't more careful.
Hey, it wasn't candy.
God, let's just say I'm lucky to have survived the 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are now moving on to Nina. So let's see if we can get into Nina's good graces. He follows her around the mall for a little bit. I mean, it really does seem like Nina she's shifting away from the problems in her marriage, which we hear her discussing on the phone. Something is clearly off with Will, but like, girl, retail therapy is not always the answer. Every time we interact with Nina, she is always talking about shopping.
Yeah, 100%. And this is also, again, Sai like overstepping his bounds because he walks up. She's on the phone. Clearly not a pleasant phone call.
No, this is a deeply personal, my marriage is in trouble conversation. He does understand enough to not just try to engage with her, but he sits at the next table over and waits for her to end the call.
Well, no, he sits 2 tables over. And then when she ends the call, then he moves to the next table over. And again, it's like he just keeps pushing. And it's like she clearly is not really in the right mood to talk to anyone right now.
No.
And he just keeps going.
He just keeps going, but it's not working particularly well. It has, memories of his interaction with Will in the store where it's just like, no, just walk away, end it now. But then he makes the Deepak Chopra connection, and then he shows her the picture of his mom, and I mean mom in quotation marks. And I like that he is better able to forge a connection with her. So it truly does seem like I can't relate to adult men. He can make connections or inroads with children, and he finds a way to get in there with Nina because he makes himself a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more emotionally connected. She says, I didn't realize that you were that deep, or I didn't know that you were so deep. Mm-hmm. And I think it's interesting, right? Like, he is definitely exhibiting stalker behavior in these moments, but it doesn't feel super nefarious. And I think, again, it's that tension between the character study and the thriller.
And she doesn't seem bothered by this. And again, I'm saying he's overstepping, but she's...
It's because of the timing. The timing is when he should not be doing this, but
right.
She doesn't seem completely closed off to it.
And she does get genuinely excited when she sees that he is reading that book.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe these two should... You know what? He should have been in a book club with people.
That's what it should have done.
That could have helped, too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's bring Bill back into the equation. So this is the manager of the Save Mart, and things are about to go real bad for Cy. So Bill is watching him handle chemicals on the security cameras. Not going to lie, again, I couldn't exactly remember how things get ramped up in the climax, and I was like, is he going to use the chemicals from the photo lab as some kind of, I inject them or I throw them in somebody's face?
Too much of a thriller.
Too much of a thriller. So this ends up being nothing. It's just a regular activity that Cy has to do. But when he gets called up to the office, this is when the discrepancy in the prints comes out. So we're talking about hundreds of prints, which P.S., I mean, it's a lot, but also it's not that much money.
Well, but he did, well, it's enough of a reason to get him fired because Bill doesn't like him, so.
Yes, I think this is... I've been keeping an eye on you, and then I'm getting confirmation you have definitely done something illegal. So this is my opportunity to get rid of you. You're out the door by the end of the week.
But, okay, I was like, he still has to finish the week? Like,
I know. Just say you're done. Pack your bag.
Admittedly, I've never been, like, let go before. Knock on fucking wood.
Ooh.
But, like, yeah, I was like, is that commonplace for if you fire someone, they still get to finish the week?
I would have thought it would be a bit more common in a business office setting, right? Where you're like, I need you to, wrap up some of your files and that kind of stuff, maybe make a transition and then go. But also it could be the exact opposite where it's, you have access to sensitive information and you could be reputationally damaging. But yeah, I feel like more often than not, if you're accused of stealing from your company, like financially, you're maybe getting charges pressed against you and you're probably getting escorted off the property.
And then I was like, well, what motivates the person who's getting fired to keep working? I mean, obviously
100%.
the income is doing it, but it's like, sure. I guess it's also like, hey, if you do this, I won't give you a bad reference when you're looking for another job.
Maybe, but again, if you were accused of stealing, I can't imagine you're getting a reference out of that.
But can you imagine that just like spend again at least 11 years of your life at a place and then you get fired because of stealing? It's like, well, where'd that reference go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like, what do you pivot to?
Well, especially now when, I'm sure there aren't a lot of 1 hour photo places in 2002 that are really looking for a new job, a new employee.
Definitely not. And the other thing that we should note, so we've mentioned it's Robin Williams and he is a man of a certain age. Trace, what do you think of the physical look of the character? Because we definitely see that he is balding. He's wearing these glasses, but the hair is kind of bleach blonde.
Bleach blonde.
It's a very, very different look for Robin Williams, which I think is helpful in separating him from some of his more comedic, maybe more familiar characters that people might be thinking of when they think of a Williams type role. But I find Cy very striking.
Yeah, I mean, again, the hair just goes with the set design, right? Like it's just that platinum white almost.
It also kind of blends into the wall.
Yeah, well, and I think that's very intentional too. So sometimes he does look actually bald.
He does, yeah.
I actually love the way this looks. And I'm glad you pointed out, too, because, in the other two films, Death to Smoochie and Insomnia, he doesn't have a different look. He still looks like Robin Williams in those movies.
Yeah, interesting. I do appreciate that there's just something visually distinct about him. It's like, it's still very clearly Robin Williams. We're not putting a fake nose or anything onto him. It's not mustache or something. But it just feels, this is a very different Robin Williams.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, so fired by the end of the week, but also I'm watching you, so don't fuck up anybody's photos, to which I also said, good luck enforcing that, Bill. Very relatable content, though. So when he is hit with this incredibly bad and unexpected news, Cy just kind of dissociates for the rest of the shift. So we see him standing behind the counter at the photo mini lab. But even I love the scene where he's just sitting on the bed and we pull out to show oh, this is a fake bedroom in the home
store
furnishing section.
Yeah, well, because it's not just that he lost his job, he's now lost his window into the Yorkins' life.
100%, yeah. So he's effectively cut off from his family by the end of the week. This would be devastating. It's truly the only thing he has in his life.
Exactly. The only thing he has.
Yeah. And then I think it makes for a really powerful moment where he does end up having to get his shit back together because Nina and Jake come in to drop off the disposable camera that Cy gifted Jake as a birthday present. And when he processes these photos, they're so innocent, kids' first camera type pictures. They're full of color. They're a little out of focus. They're too close to objects, but there's this childlike wonder. And I love Williams's performance in this moment because he is half laughing, marveling at the wonder of them and crying. And you can tell that he's already missing his connection to this. Yeah. It's so fucking good.
Well, and so luckily this is when a plan starts to form because this is when he sees Maya in, he sees Will in Maya's photos, which that's irresponsible.
I mean, here's the thing. She has no reason to believe that anyone is actually paying that close attention to any of these photos. But it's like, yeah, maybe don't take pictures, i.e. evidence of your fucking office affair.
I did think that was a little weird. Yeah, I mean, go get them developed, whatever. But the fact that you would want those pictures at all to begin with?
No, I get it, because I think that there's another version of this film where Maya is having a kind of hot, erotic thriller style affair with this married man who seemingly owns the company she works for. And then, oh my God, there's somebody who is just as obsessed with Will as I am.
I didn't think that, were they co-workers? I thought because they were both like parents on the kids' like soccer team or whatever.
Oh, is that it? I thought it was a company softball pitcher. So I thought she worked for him.
Maybe it was. Oh, fuck. Now I'm questioning myself. Either way, regardless.
It's clearly like, you just need to know that it's an affair. But yeah, I got the impression that she worked in the office because it seemed like the assistant. Although if it's just somebody managing Will's calendar, then he would probably know, oh, he seems to disappear at this time every week or whatever.
But we have no inside look at this relationship either. Like, we don't know truly how Maya feels about Will. Maya is barely a character in this movie, even though she does have a lot more to do in the climax.
Yeah, but I would agree with you. She's not a character in that moment. She is a bystander who gets caught in the crossfire.
Yeah.
And we could be super judgy and say, oh, well, maybe you shouldn't be having an adulterous affair. But the reality is no one deserves to go through what they're put through in this climax.
Which, at the same time, though, is not as intense as I expected it to be.
Yeah. Again, if you're looking at a thriller, then you would be expecting... Here's the thing. I think that you could play this as a junior version of some of the things that John Doe does in Seven.
Yeah, I could totally see that. Because you're thinking of Lust, right?
Yeah, 100% I am.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Folks, we have an audio commentary on Seven if you want to hear our thoughts to that specific scene or any other part of the film.
Go listen.
Okay, yeah, so Cy figures out that Maya, he did recognize her, because she shows up in one of the pictures in his collage on the wall, and then when he processes her role, incriminating photos of their affair. And did you figure out that he was going to slip her photos into Nina's photos, or did you need the reveal later on?
I needed the reveal, honestly, because I didn't see him getting that involved yet. And so I wasn't, I was really happy when he did, though, because I was like, good, show her those pictures.
Oh my God. No, because here's the thing. Yes, because it has to come out anyway for the purpose of the narrative. But part of me thought, oh, you didn't stop to think about how much this is going to hurt Nina. Like, truly what he does is...
Oh, it's selfish.
It is selfish. Like, he really, in this moment, is wanting to punish Will. And I think, again, this doesn't anticipate the revelation we're going to learn at the end, which is that his fixation is on the patriarch of the family and how damaging... Basically, how shit that the dad does can trickle down and hurt everyone else in the family.
Exactly. And he has his own daddy issues, as we will eventually learn.
He truly does. I also want to give a shout out to this nice moment that he shares with Yoshi because, let's not forget, he's fired. So he has to tell Yoshi, hey, this is going to be my last time working here. And Yoshi, it seems like they've not had a great relationship. I've always gotten the impression that Sai lords his experience over Yoshi. Like, oh, you're not good. Never mind. And here Yoshi says, thanks for teaching me to value this. It was really nice working with you. And I like this moment for, again, a person who's not truly a character in this film.
Yeah. Also, Yoshi's based on a name named after another photographer.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, oh, it's named after Yoshi, but no, the last name Araki is the photographer.
Right. Okay.
No.
Not a Super Mario Brothers.
Not the dinosaur.
Character. Yeah. Which admittedly is probably the most famous Yoshi that especially North Americans would know.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we get this long tracking shot through the store as Sai, makes his way through the various sections. And then, let's steal a giant knife using our employee key, shall we?
This is an ominous moment, too. It's like, ooh,
100%.
boy.
Why do you need a giant knife? And part of me was like, do you not have a knife at home? Why do you need to take one from the store? But I guess he feels owed in this moment. Yeah.
Yeah, a hunting knife is a different vibe than like a butcher knife,
Well, and we will talk about hunting, so maybe that also makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yes, you get the insinuation that he has done something with the photos, but we don't exactly know until he follows Nina after she picks up her order, and then she pulls the car over, and we do get this interior cut to her reacting very badly because clearly she asked Jake to open the photos up, and he was like, Mommy, what the fuck are these photos?
Yeah.
And she realized Will's having an affair.
But Sai is just parked behind them on the shoulder, and I'm like, and there's a moment where Nina clocks the car behind her.
Does she? Okay.
But I'm shocked she doesn't recognize him.
I mean, I guess in that moment, her entire world is falling apart. So maybe she realizes, oh, that's bizarre. But also, hey, I need to now think about how I'm going to approach this situation. I do love that we don't really get this dramatic confrontation between her and Will, which is clearly what Sai wanted. So when he parks and watches this dinner, and it's business as usual. It's, no, we're just going to pretend like nothing is wrong. And Sai gets so mad.
I actually don't think there's a ton of comedy in this movie, but I laughed out loud when he's watching her like serve the salad, and he just goes, what the hell's wrong with these people?
Yes. Yeah. Why is no one behaving normally? And then you realize, it's because a lot of families are really fucked up and dysfunctional. And yeah, it doesn't always result in the fireworks that you anticipate.
Exactly. Much like this movie.
Yes. So Sai ends up going home, and I will say I don't like the media choices that we include. I think that they are way too obvious. So the first one here is The Day the Earth Stood Still from 1951. And this character is literally saying, I can't tell you how to live your life, but if you don't make different choices, the decision will be obliteration. And I was like, oh, come on.
It's on the nose, but it's
so
fine.
on the nose. We should note that the other reference is the Cape Beer episode of The Simpsons.
Oh, I didn't know that was. I should have recognized that, but that's interesting. Okay.
You know what? You can do yourself a favor and you can rewatch it before that Apple TV series debuts this summer.
Oh, it's a Terror Tuesday already, baby. I will be watching it.
Okay. This is when we get the bloody eye nightmare that was from every single trailer for this film.
Yeah, and if you came into this movie wanting more of this, I didn't realize. So do you know why his eyes are red?
I'm not going to speculate. Go ahead, tell me.
It's meant to mimic like the red eye effect you get in photos.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I did see like this moment where he kind of has the conniption fit after getting fired, and he's just like sitting in the processing lab with the red light. I did see a couple of people who know their shit about photography where they said if you were developing film with the red light, you would have destroyed all of the prints.
You think people working on a film set would know that?
But it makes for a great effect to see Robin Williams just crouch down with the red light over him, right?
Yeah. And I think there were possibly originally more of these kind of like flashaways to, again, like the bloody eyes and things like that. So I think it's fine that we just kind of condense into this one moment.
Agreed.
But yeah, if you saw that in the market and you were like, oh my God, like the blood flying out of his hands from his eyes, like you don't get a lot of that in this movie.
You are being misled, yes. So this precedes his decision to go hunting, because that's what the origins of the word snapshots refer to.
Oh, yeah.
And we see him taking pictures. And of course, see, this is where I think the editing is actually really smart. We think that he's just frantically taking a bunch of pictures of Will and the Yorkin household. And he is not, we will come to discover. But first, we have to have him dropping off the photos at Save Mart, and Bill immediately tries to intercept him, doesn't want him coming around, doesn't want him shopping here. And I love that Cy doesn't rise to the challenge here. He keeps it totally calm. He says that he knows he's allowed to continue shopping here as a customer. There's nothing wrong with that. And then he clarifies that part of the reason he wants the photos developed here is because he made that lab. He
calibrated it.
Yeah, he calibrated it, and he knows that it is the best in the state, he says.
So this turns out to be his downfall, because yes, what we learn is that the photos he was taking was actually of Bill's young daughter playing on their front lawn. And this, of course, leads Bill to call the detective photographer man. And
yep.
That sets in motion the events of the finale, at least on the cop side of things. And it's like...
But you have to, like, I assumed that this is partially a cry for help. Like, I think Cy knows that this is going to, as you said earlier, escalate the situation.
But see, I think he's just doing this just to be a dick to Bill, because he doesn't like Bill.
Okay. I mean, my logistical question is, if you're Yoshi, do you know what Bill's daughter looks like?
That is a great question.
And then I was like, no, never mind. Just pull back from that again. Just go with the movie. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting choice, right? To say, okay, I have deliberately done this to fuck with my employer, but then this is also the thing that ultimately will get me caught.
He should have done it after he did the stuff with Will and Maya.
I mean, yeah, but again, do we really think that Cy is in his right mind? He either wants this to happen because he knows that he is unraveling, or it never even occurred to him that he would get caught. And
I guess, too. Like, trying to nitpick at like decisions that Cy is making. It's like, no, he's already kind of gone off the deep end. Like, he's not making rational decisions at this point.
No, because what he does in this hotel room is not the work of someone in their right mind.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay, so let's go through it. I'm going to say let's divide and conquer, because really the film splits into two lines of action from this point through to the end. So
I don't care about the cops. Do we need to talk about them that much? I mean, they're trying to figure out where Cy is. There you go.
Basically, yeah. Like, they go and they talk to Nina, and she makes some frantic phone calls trying to track her husband down, because we understand the family is in peril, and why the fuck is he fucking this other woman? Like, get him on the phone. We need him home right now.
Oh, I did like that. I know he's fucking Maya. Just give me the number.
Ugh, so uncomfortable. See, again, that's how I thought she knew who Maya was, is because she had interacted with her at corporate functions.
Yeah, and see, I guess I made this entire narrative in my mind where Maya's just another mom in the town, and they were all at the same team softball game.
You know what? You could be so right. Listeners, let us know. What did you think?
I think I'm wrong. But I think the only thing we could just talk about, though, is when the cops do get into Cy's apartment and they see the photo wall. Because we did see a shot earlier where Cy was scratching something off of the photos, and
yes,
we obviously know it's going to be Will's face,
100%.
obviously. But there's a shot when he's doing that. It's from the foot level, angled up, and we can see like the flecks of the ink on the photos, like kind of drifting down in the air. I thought that was a gorgeous shot. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the film is filled with these. Like, we haven't really talked about some of the technical precision, but it's framed and blocked so well. I think the lighting choices are often really well suited to the subject matter. So, Robin Williams rightfully got a lot of credit for anchoring the film, and his performance is incredible, but the movie also only works as well as it does because it is stunningly beautiful to look at.
Oh, 100%. But it's stunningly beautiful, but also very sterile. Like, you could almost think you're in a David Cronenberg movie.
Yeah. It's very artsy.
It's just very white.
It is also that, yeah.
So much white.
Okay, well, let's talk about what Sai does. So he follows Maya and Will to a hotel. They're having a sexy midday tryst, to which I say, who's on the company clock this time? Because this is going to take up more than your 30-minute lunch hour.
Mm-hmm.
The way that he figures out where they are staying, like which room, I think is very clever.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is the most thrillery part of the movie, is watching him con his way into the hotel room.
This is all thriller all the time now, especially this particular storyline. Like, the rest is kind of a mid-tier
Procedural.
cop procedural, and this is a very, oh my god, what is he going to do thriller?
Yeah, he's calling room service, canceling the room service that Maya and Will order, but then he's gonna like go pretend to deliver room service. I do think, because he knocks on the door and they're like, just leave it at the door, and he's like, no, I need you to sign for it. When he busts that door in and like door like just bashes Maya in the face, it is, you feel that.
Yes, yeah. And then he goes in, and it's unlike anything we have ever seen Sai do before.
Yeah.
He is raising his voice. He is yelling. He is threatening. He does have this hunting knife out, and he is barking orders. And again, we know where the movie is going. This feels like learned behavior, because what he does is he puts them into this position where he wants them naked. He is posing them, but they can't touch.
This was like if you pause it just right, you can see his penis bit. Because
you can 100% see
when
penis. Michael
Vartan but you have to. It is like the right like millisecond to pause this thing, because he gets up off this bed, the towel falls, and we cut so quickly. But I'm like, no, I saw Bush. I saw Bush.
I saw it. I saw Bush. I saw the bottom part of a shaft. My eyes were trained.
Yeah, it's the dick root, man.
100%. Yeah, so these two are posed in sexually explicit positions. Oh, the uncomfortable moment where he says, put it in your mouth, or take him in your mouth.
Put his thing in your mouth.
There we go.
Again, he can't even say penis. Put his thing in your mouth.
But this feels like language that an adult would use on children to get them to understand how to engage in sexual positions.
So listen, if you haven't seen this movie, listeners, basically, he's putting him in these positions, but he's saying do not touch each other. So even though he says put his thing in your mouth, Maya actually does start to do that, and he says no, don't actually do it. It's all pretend. So he's wanting these photos of them in these positions where they're not actually doing anything.
No, and they're obviously incredibly upset. They're terrified. It feels like he says, if you don't do what I want, I'm just going to stab you. So this is proper serial killer behavior.
Oh, I did actually laugh, though, when he says, wipe your nose, you look disgusting.
There's a weird element of misogyny in that moment that I really don't like. It maybe just makes me feel very uncomfortable.
He's meaner to her than he is to 100%. Will in this scene.
Yeah. And I think that also speaks volumes, right? Like, in some ways, it does feel like he's become this male punishing figure who is taking it out on the other people, not the patriarch. Like, he wants to humiliate Will, but he's actually doing the worst things to Maya.
Yeah, which, again, doesn't seem fair, because she's not a character.
Not a character, kind of a mostly innocent bystander.
Yeah.
So we're taking all of these pictures, and you think, oh my God, what is he going to do with these pictures? Like, it's not a complete why is he doing this, because you do understand if it is sexual humiliation. But I think in our minds, we're meant to assume, well, if the other pictures didn't get a rise out of Nina, I'm going to send her these pictures.
I guess, that's my thing, is I kept thinking this entire time, I was like, what is his end game here? Like, what does he want to happen? And you would think in a thriller, the logical step is he's going to kill one or both of them.
Sure.
But that never seems to be his intent.
No, but in the moment, I think we're supposed to assume that this will end bloodily and violently and possibly with homicides.
I simultaneously find it unsatisfying, but also admirable.
I think if the film went there would be no walking back, and we're still meant to like, or at least sympathize, or feel bad and sad for Sai at the end of this film.
And truthfully, and maybe this makes me a fucked up person, but I still feel that way for him, even in this scene.
Yeah, I don't fully understand what he's doing. That comes later when we get the explanation. In this moment, I know mostly why he's doing this, but he just is so far removed from the Sai that we have gotten to know over the course of the film. It just is like, oh, maybe I don't know this character. after all.
Yeah, and that's entirely possible. But which, though, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of a character study then?
Again, how much of this ends up working in hindsight after? Like, I don't love the reveal, and yet I keep referencing it as if it unlocks the mystery of who the character is.
Again, I don't mind the reveal. I don't like its placement in the film.
There. You know what? Yes, I will co-sign on that. Because even in this moment, if you think about it, the other dialogue that he keeps saying, and it sounds so weird, but so simultaneously aggressive that it's scary, he keeps saying, it should be fun, and this is pretend. And you're like, oh, yeah. Because again, these are phrases that he was told when he was probably as upset as Maya or as shell-shocked as Will.
100%. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we don't see the byproduct, so we're left to assume he could have killed them or not. He could have let them go. We don't know, but we see him go back to his not quite adjoining, but slightly down the hall room on the 5th floor, and he just lays on the bed and has a kind of timeout, like, okay, mission accomplished. I can maybe breathe, or holy shit, I just did that. So we get that moment. This is obviously all cross-cut with the detectives coming in. Where's Maya's room? We need a universal passcode, like blah, blah, blah. Who fucking knows? Yeah. But Sai obviously realizes that he needs to move. So he ends up... I do find this a little bit funny in another uncomfortable but different fashion, where he opens the door on this large conference of, I think it's like, not quite optometrists or ophthalmologists, but it's something to do with the eye. And you're like, okay, movie. It's a little on the nose. But he opens the door and then runs through the keynote address and then runs through the kitchen and then runs through the halls before ultimately setting off the alarm when he goes out an emergency exit. I saw some people say they just don't find this particularly interesting, or it's not as exciting as it should be. I agree, only because we know he's going to get caught because of the fucking framing device.
I was going to say, I actually think this is a pretty good sequence, but the problem is we know he's going to get caught.
Yeah, but even the image of him running down the circular...
Oh, the parking thing?
Yeah, the parking garage. I think it's kind of gorgeous.
I do too. Because it kept going, because there was also a shot where when he's running down, I thought we saw a police SUV, like a black SUV, driving up. And so while he's going down, I kept thinking we were going to wait for them to meet, and it never happens. And yeah, again, very thrillery, not even a critique. But yeah, I wish we just didn't know that he gets caught for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. So he does end up getting caught as he tries to make his exit. They're all waiting for him. They're behind him. There's no way he's getting out of this. And then we are back at the end of the framing device. We do also get to see that Will and Maya have survived this. She is in the shower and Will is just sitting on the edge of the bed. No reaction, just completely gone. As
he is getting arrested though, outside the parking garage. This is your line at the opening of the episode where he just says, I just took pictures.
Yeah. Yep. And that is true, because we see that apart from what he did to them, they have not been harmed in any way.
I mean, this is probably a question for a legal officer, but do you think is it considered breaking and entering if you're breaking into someone's hotel room?
Oh, yes, I think so.
But is it breaking and entering against the hotel or breaking and entering against the people in the room?
I think...
I know, right?
I think I would still assume ownership of the room because it has been paid by someone, that is their space for the duration of the time.
That makes sense. I don't know. Hey, everyone, let us know.
Let us know. Yeah, I mean, regardless, he's getting charged with a bunch of fucking shit. Even if he's saying, I just took photos.
I mean, he's lucky he didn't kill anyone, but...
Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to lie. I think you could actually end the film here.
Yeah, I do.
So with him saying, I just took photos, you could choose whether you want to reveal if he actually injured or killed Maya or Will, or you could just leave it on those somber moments in the shower and the bed.
Yeah.
Do I need this moment where Will goes home and Jake runs up and hugs him, and there's a knowing but also unknowable glance that passes between husband and wife, but no dialogue?
Well, I think we need it because this is the problem is this is the resolution of their story, but I don't think we realize in the moment this is the last time we're going to see these characters.
Well, and even if you do know, do you find it satisfying? Does it give you the information necessary to even understand, okay, are they presumably going to stay together? Is she just relieved that he isn't dead? I feel like there's an unknowability, which I usually appreciate in films. And here I just kind of find like, well, why is it even here then?
I think we have the answer based on their past actions because, we know that, okay, like when Sai was spying on them, he's like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Because they weren't fighting. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, well, maybe like she confronted him, but like they're having a family dinner. They're not going to fight in front of this kid. But what we learn is that she never even confronted him about these photos. Right. So I think they're going to stay in this life.
We just brush it under the surface and continue on.
I think that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a pretty damning critique of nuclear suburban family here, right? Mm-hmm. Where this family presents well in photos and underneath the surface, they're anything but perfect, which, news at 11. This is not a news story at all, but I kind of like that the film mostly allows us to figure that out. It's not heavy-handed in that way, apart from its choice of, media clips, as I said earlier. Sure. That's a little too on the nose. But I don't know. I think that this would play better if we had have gotten more of Will and Nina.
I agree.
We get enough to understand their side of the storyline and we understand the critique that the film is making, but I just don't find this satisfying.
I don't think we're supposed to, but I also think it's the film saying, like, these aren't the central characters of the story that you're supposed to care about. We're on side.
Yeah, I think then cut this part because you could just leave it as Will's a broken man and Maya is okay, but like we don't need to care about whether the family stays together or not.
But then you wouldn't see Nina again for the rest of the film either. And I'm kind of with you where I'm like, yeah, but this isn't really much of anything either.
Yeah. You just like seeing a final tiny glimpse of Connie Nielsen.
Yeah.
Well, Nina, obviously.
Yeah.
The actress.
No, I know. The blank face. I don't know her name.
Gun to your head. What's her name?
I'm telling you, every time I see her, she just looks completely different.
Chunky, weird hair. Different hair in every film. Okay, so we're back to the framing device. Yay, because you can't have a framing device without closing it. So Sai compliments detective photographer about being what he assumes to be a good husband. He assumes that he has good moral character. And then this is what we get of this reveal, Trace. You would never neglect and abuse your children, make horrible demands of your children. You would never ask your children to do things that children shouldn't do. You would never take disgusting, sick, degrading pictures of your children doing these things. You would never treat your children like animals.
Yeah. So again, totally forgot this was in this movie.
Do you like that we don't say sexual abuse or rape or even... Is it incest if you just take pictures? You know what? I almost don't want to know the answer to that.
I mean, that seems... I was going to say of the time that we're not just saying it.
Maybe. Very 2002. We're suggesting but not naming.
Like, it's still a little... I mean, it's always, obviously, child sexual abuse is a very taboo subject, obviously. Yes. But, like, I feel like we're more open in media today to actually, like, saying it. Mm. And I'm just saying this based on, like, my memory and feeling. Like, maybe I'm totally off the mark here, but, like, I don't know. But, again, I keep saying this, but I don't mind this is here, but because it's here with 2 minutes maybe left in the film's runtime, it honestly, okay, you know what I get from this ending? I get the ending of Psycho. And because this reveal almost plays like the same way with the psychiatrist in Psycho saying, oh, this is how it all works with Norman Bates.
Yeah, this is the explanation. It's the motivation. This is the why.
Exactly. But then we even go further because like the moment whenever he asks detective photographer guy, he's like, can I see my pictures now? And he does hand it to him. This also feels like a 1-to-1 scene with Norman asking for that blanket in the final moments of Psycho.
Oh, you are right.
So I do think that's what we're doing here, but similarly to how the psychiatrist scene in Psycho is kind of the most like debated, the only bad scene in the movie, that kind of feels the same way here for me, where I wish... Well, because Psycho's a thriller, though. Psycho's not a character study. So I guess I'm more forgiving of it there. Whereas here, I'm like, okay, you have your character study and you drop this bomb on us with 2 minutes left to go. But why?
Yeah. I was trying to think of a comparison or a film that touches on the same ideas, but does it in a more satisfying or maybe better executed way. And what I came up with is Mysterious Skin.
Oh, yeah. Previous episode, everyone. Just content warnings galore.
I mean, that one I would argue is also not saying it, but it is presented in such a way that there is no mistaking it. But that film tells you what has happened throughout the entire runtime.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, this just feels a little bit like a cheat to me. Like again, to me, you either put this in the movie earlier or you don't put it in the movie at all.
Yeah. I could have gotten out of this film without having a kind of concretized, this is why he did it motivating factor. You know, we address different areas where the lines have a heavier meaning or a darker meaning. And I do think that in hindsight, it does not flesh it out, but it does offer a deeper layer, let's say. But I think you could still take it out and the movie would still work as this is a man who saw this perfect life that he doesn't have, and he snaps when he realizes, oh, this is a facade and this is bullshit. It's not really like that beneath the surface. Like, I think that movie still works.
I think actually too, you could make, hear me out. You could have the cold open be the flashback to his father taking pictures of him. And like, I get your comparison to Mysterious Skin, but we're seeing a victim of child sexual abuse as an 18-year-old in that movie. And obviously Robin Williams is much older in this film. And so I think you could play, again, if you want to make this a true character study, I think you have to start with the inciting incident that creates this character. And that is the abuse he suffered as a child.
Yeah. It would just be a very different film, right?
Well, it would be, but I think that's where you would tip the scale, again, further into character study and away from thriller.
Yeah, it makes sense in a thriller to have a kind of twisty reveal or something that changes at the end, but I'm just like, this is not the thing to do that with. And
granted, though, we should say, like, people are definitely more sensitive to that now in media than they were in 2002.
100%. Yeah. And that's why I think, my Crying Game comparison is kind of also similar to that, because that's a late 90s film, but it just, we were like, yeah, no, this is fine. This is totally chill. And then you're like 25. And so years later, you just go, oh no, maybe don't. Maybe treat that with a bit more respect. It's fine. I think we belabored the point. Like, we have made our arguments. I would be interested to hear from our listeners if you feel like this is really poorly executed, if it just shouldn't be in here, or if you think it does add something extra to the film, albeit on a second watch and beyond.
Yeah, for sure. But either way, he's booked, and
he's living in a fantasy, right?
Yeah,
because
he's fully
just inserted into a picture now.
Mm-hmm. Which poetic way to end the film.
I think so. I really like this as an ending.
Me too.
And I do think it puts a pin in the central theme, at least of the character study half of the film.
Yeah, I agree. But that's 1 hour photo.
It's 1 hour photo. Took us longer than an hour to develop this argument. Ba-dum-bum-bing.
Okay, everyone. Well, before we announce what we're covering next week, some quick housekeeping. If you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us on Blue Sky and Instagram at HorrorQueers. Shoot us an email at horrorqueers@gmail.com. Find us on Letterboxd to keep track of all the films we've covered. If you want to chat with other listeners, please join our Horror Queers Discord. That link is in the show notes. If you have a moment, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you want more content, including ad-free main feed episodes, please support the show by becoming a patron at patreon.com/horrorqueers. If you subscribe today, you'll get 483 hours of Patreon content, including this month's new episodes on Hannibal Season 3, Episodes 3 and 4, Faces of Death, the remake, They Will Kill You, Lee Cronin's The Mummy, and, to coincide with that last title, a brand new audio commentary on the Tom Cruise 2017 film, The Mummy, and the conclusion of our coverage of Mike Flanagan's The Haunting of Hill House over on the Requel tier.
All right.
But Joe, what are we talking about next week?
Okay, so new month, and it feels like it's been a little while since we've taken a journey outside of North America. I just double checked, it was The Wicker Man was the last foreign-ish film that we've done. So we're going to stay English language, but we are going to go, oh my God, let me try it again, down under. People love it when I do the terrible Aussie accent.
They do?
No, they absolutely do not. They do not. You know why? Because it's offensive. We just had a conversation about accents last week, but I'm still trying. Anyway, so we're going to check out Eddie Redmayne's debut, and Toni Collette is in this one. I should note this is also a listener recommendation, so I will do my darndest to see if I can track down an actual name to put to this recommendation. But we are checking out the 2006 Australian film Like Minds.
I will say I have never heard of this, and then I did like a deep dive and looked it up, and I saw Toni Collette, and I was like, oh my god, well, sold immediately.
Exactly. Easy, yes.
Yeah, no, it's been a while since I've walked into a movie we've covered completely blind, and that's what I'll be doing with this.
Yeah, it's a first time watch for both of us. I'm excited. It looks like homoerotic boys' school mystery stuff, so sign me up.
Yeah, I'm really excited. But, okay, everyone. Until next week, we can cross out 1 hour photo.
Indeed. And cross out horror queers.